Welcome to the Hoopcast podcast. This is the first episode. I'm Ben Cooper. I'm joined by Angelo. And today we're going to talk about the upcoming NBA playoffs. So, Angelo, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Welcome to the first ever Hoopcast episode. Yeah, very excited to join Ben here. Of course, as mentioned, I'm Angelo. I've been a sports reporter, NBA reporter for over a decade now. So really excited to get this off to really talk about a sport that we both love, especially with the NBA coming, with the NBA playoffs coming soon. There's a lot of things that we need to talk about, that we need to discuss, because it's really an exciting time ahead.
Yeah, exactly. And a little bit about me. I have been a writer for Clutch Points for about 2 years now, covering the NBA and NFL. And then I'm also the head writer for Lakers All Day Every Day, where I will write articles about the Lakers and also edit the other writers' articles on there. So, anyways, let's get into it. So, there's 2 days left of the regular season, and then we got the playoffs. So a lot of matchups are already popping up. So one big thing that has happened in the second half of the year is the Lakers rising from the 13th seed after the trade deadline, where they made a bunch of trades, trading away Westbrook, getting D'Angelo
Mhm.
Russell, Jared Vanderbilt, Malik Beasley, Mo Bamba, and Rui Hachimura. And that core has really been a resurgence for the Lakers. So, how do you view them going into the playoffs?
Yeah, I think that's really, the one of the best storylines in the NBA, especially in the second half. When it comes to the Lakers rise, like now they're the seventh seed, fighting for a top six seed, which automatically qualifies them for the postseason. I really like what they have done. Like, as you know, you have been covering the Lakers for, Lakers daily. Am I correct?
Yeah, for Lakers all day, every day. Yeah.
Yeah, Lakers are, yeah. So, I think my biggest observation really, more than just the trades that they did. Of course, you gotta love what the front office did, like trading away Russell Westbrook. It's just not really working. It was not really working for the team. But the biggest takeaway that I have for the team is actually Anthony Davis. He has really been healthy the past 10 weeks. There was a stat that I saw before, like he and LeBron James, they haven't really played together for a 5 game stretch for over 2 years, but they have, and Davis is really crucial to that. He's he has been healthy, and when he's healthy, the Lakers are just clicking. When Darvin Ham took over for the Lakers, he mentioned that Davis will be the center of his offense. They struggled a bit at the beginning, 0-5 start, if I remember. Then now they're in the seventh seed. Many thought that they wouldn't even make the playoffs. But Davis' health has really been crucial for this team. They Since David is at the center of that, he's the fulcrum of their offense. It's just they're just thriving. LeBron James is no longer the same player he once was. He's still that dominant player, but he is really he's really passed the torch to Davis when it comes to leading the Lakers. And I think he's doing exactly that. More than just the trades that they did. Of course it's great. But if Davis wasn't healthy, I doubt that it would have worked out that way, the way it did now.
Yeah, for sure. Davis is definitely the main component to the team. They need him healthy to make a run. He impacts. Obviously, he's the primary scorer now, but he's also their anchor on defense as the shot blocker in the middle. So
Exactly.
his impact definitely very important to the team, and it's been very helpful. And they've gotten back to what they did in 2020, where they surrounded LeBron and AD with role players instead of going for that third star, and it's really helping them out. I mean, they got guys that can come in. Like Reeves has been very good in the second half of the season. He's taken his game to a whole new level, and then new acquisitions like D'Angelo Russell has helped in the scoring column. Vanderbilt's been a great wing defender for them. Hachimura has had some good games of late, scoring off the bench and playing solid defense. So that trade deadline really turned their season around, and now they have a chance in the playoffs. They'll probably have to go through the play in unless the Clippers lose their last two games and the Lakers win tomorrow, or if the Warriors lose tomorrow. But they'll if they win tomorrow, they can be the seventh seed and they would be home for the play-in. So it's been a great climb because they started off the season 2-10, and now they're all the way up to 42-39. So good trade deadline by Rob Pelinka puts them in position to go out and make a run.
Actually, that's a really good analysis. I mean, when you mentioned that that they did what they did back in 2020, surrounding Davis and LeBron with good role players instead of the third star. I think that's really what what really transformed them. They're comfortable with it. As you can see, Davis is really thriving. LeBron is also thriving, although not to the same extent as he was before. But yeah, clearly they didn't need that third star. They were trying hard to really have that trifecta to contend with other teams. But clearly, they're just satisfied with what they can make it work with just their two top dogs there. So yeah, I like that. I like that. That makes sense, and that really puts them in a great position to succeed. And as you mentioned, aiming for the six seed. I really hope that they could make it, because I like their matchup with the Kings, if ever, instead of the Grizzlies. You really want to see they can get that. If ever they face the Kings in the first round. No offense to Sacramento, great season, great record. Mark Brown did a heck of a job transforming that team to a top three team that they are today. But if they face the Lakers, a healthy LeBron James and Anthony Davis, it's gonna be a problem for sure. So I really want them to take that six seed. Although it might be difficult considering the schedule of the Clippers. I doubt that the opponents that the Clippers will have in their last two games will be in full health. They'll probably sit some players out. But if the Lakers can pull it off, I can see a great postseason waiting for them.
Yeah, I think that's going to be really big because, yeah, like you said, the Kings, they've had a really good season. Mike Brown's done a great job turning that team around. De'Aaron Fox and Sabonis both had really great years, but they don't have much playoff experience on their
Exactly. Yeah.
roster. Harrison Barnes is like the only one that I can think of off the top of my head that's been to the finals. Um, and I think they have Dellavedova too, but he doesn't play that much. Compared to the Lakers, they have LeBron and AD who have won a championship together, and Darvin Ham was an assistant on that Milwaukee Bucks team that won the title. So Lakers have that championship experience that the Kings don't have. So in a playoff series, even with their home court, Lakers could give them problems, but you never know. The
Yeah.
Kings have been good all year. Maybe it translates to the postseason and they're ready to go, give Lakers a good series. But that we still got to see if the Warriors or the Clippers lose their games for the Lakers to get in. So speaking about the Warriors, they have struggled on the road this season. They are one of the worst road teams in basketball. They are 10-30 on the road. How do you see that translating as they go into the postseason?
Oh man. For the Warriors, I am scared. I've been watching their games all season long. And if you're looking at the current matchups, they'll be facing a Phoenix Suns squad right, with Kevin Durant. So
Yep.
if they, it's funny. It's a really weird stat. This how the hell do they struggle that hard on the road, right? Like they're just playing the same, but it just seems that they can't get over the road struggles. Like you know, whenever they start games, they it looks like they're going to win. They're confident, but at the end, they always find themselves on the losing end most of the time. Not always, most of the time, especially when it comes on the road. So
Yeah.
it's just really weird. It's just really weird. I've been reading some analysis about the Warriors struggles, and what really stood out to me is they said that the shot quality it's the same. They're taking the same number of shots, but it's really their defense on the road that really that really that has really doomed them. That's how I can say it. Uh, Opponents are shooting better. Of course, maybe that's because of their home court advantage when the Warriors are on the road, right? But the biggest difference for the Warriors whenever they're playing on the road is the the opponents are shooting better. And when it comes to the playoffs, if their defense is like that on the road, they don't have a home court advantage, like especially for the first round. They're in the fifth seed, so that's really concerning. If they keep messing up their defense, if they you know in the playoffs, it's the defense that really wins you games. And it's a huge issue for the Warriors. If they don't solve that, and I doubt that they can resolve that since it has been a problem all season long, they're definitely in trouble. And they're facing a Sun squad with potentially facing a Sun squad with Kevin Durant on the lineup. So Durant, you know how stable he is as a scorer. If he might start slow, but you're getting 25, 28, or 30 points from him. So how do the Warriors stop a player like that? That's a big question mark for them. And if they can't defend on the road, and they have to win on the road, and if they can't, it's a no-brainer that they're probably taking an early exit in the postseason.
Yeah, they're the defending champs, but definitely a lot of road struggles this year. And if they get Andrew Wiggins back, that'll be big. He's missing the final games of the regular season. I don't know if he's going to be on the court for the playoffs. That's kind of been an ongoing thing. He's back with the team, but he's been dealing with some a personal absence. So he's one of their best defenders. So he's a guy they can put on Durant and try and you can't stop Durant. He's that good of a player, but you can try and make it hard for him, make him he might get his 30, but make it on 20 shots. Um so just have a guy that can defend him, and Wiggins would be big to get back, but still their road struggles are definitely a concern. Now they could also face the Kings, and that would be more favorable for them for sure. And they could still end up in the play-in tournament if they lose their final game and the Lakers win. They'll find themselves as the seventh seed. So could be a lot of movement for them, but definitely need to figure out how to win on the road. You need to at least win one or two on the road in a series. So you can't just win all your home games if you're not going to have home court advantage. So they'll need to figure it out going forward.
Yeah, to your point earlier, it makes sense for the Warriors to drop in the standings, right? Like they're currently the fifth seed, just half a game ahead of the Clippers and one game ahead of the Los Angeles Lakers. So if they can, I think it's really better for them to try to go down the standings, go finish at least in the sixth seed to face the
Yeah.
Kings, because it's really a favorable matchup for the lower seeded teams right now. Warriors, Clippers, or Lakers, or whoever, if the Pelicans make it. Getting that seven seed and facing the or getting that six seed and facing the Kings, it helps you adjust to the playoffs early. Like for the Warriors, they can try to tweak their defensive issues. They can try to find solutions for their defense while not having that much pressure compared to when they face the Suns or even the Grizzlies. Although it's quite far. If if they drop to seven, that's still not a good thing if they face the Grizzlies. That six seed is really the sweet spot, I believe. And again, no offense to the Kings, heck of a season, but their playoff experience is just you haven't seen enough from them to believe that they can take on the defending champs who knows how to win at this level. It's just the road struggles that they are really that's concerning for us. But when it comes to winning, they know what to do. Last year they won the title without despite the expectations of people that their dynasty is over. They're gone, they're done. But no, they were able to prove it last season that they know how to win at this level. This is not the same Warriors team. Don't get me wrong. This is not the same Warriors team, but Steve Kerr, Steph Curry, Clay Thompson, Draymond Green, they know how to win. And if they can really get it going, and if they just can get it going in the first round, facing the Kings, it will be a huge boost to them as they go on to the second round and maybe even the Western Conference Finals.
Yeah, for sure. Now let's move to the East because those are the main points in the
Mm.
West at this point as the play-in's already locked up. Actually, let's touch on Dallas real quick before we move to the East. So Dallas
Yeah, man, don't get me
decided to
started with
sit
Dallas.
Kyrie and Luca. Luca sat after the first quarter yesterday
Hmm.
because they want to go get a lottery pick now instead of fight for the play-in tournament in their last two games. So they traded for Kyrie at the deadline. Their defense became the one of the worst in basketball, might have been the worst. And Kyrie's a free agent, so complete collapse. They were the 4 seed at the trade deadline and went down all the way to 11th. So, what do you think? What went wrong there? What should they do in the off season with Kyrie?
Man, yeah, I'm not sure if you know, but I'm a huge Dallas fan. I've been following the team for for years. Like I've been watching them since '09, '10, and
Yeah,
this is like this. I've been frustrated before, like when they were not making the playoffs. But this one is just really sad. You know, it's hard to watch the team in the past few weeks. How do I say this? You know what to expect on the offense, but it's just that they really I don't even know if they're trying hard when it comes to making stops. It's horrendous basketball. They're not playing to their potential. They did not play to their potential, and obviously they waved the white flag yesterday when they fought the who were the who did the yeah when they played
the Bulls.
the Bulls. Yeah, they already waved the white flag clearly. It's just that it's frustrating. Well, more on my personal thoughts really. When it comes to the offseason, you can see the offense. Kyrie and Luca. It's just that you don't know what else they can add, or if the pairing will really work. We they can score for sure, but in an 82 game season, uh, obviously in the past 20 games or so, or the past 15 games or so, when they traded for Kyrie, the defense was exposed. Will it will they have the same issues moving forward if the Mavs resign Kyrie Irving, right? That's a big concern since the two obviously cannot defend. Even if the Mavs add a defender or even a center that will really help the two operate even in the perimeter and outside. It's hard to imagine the two really thriving if their defense isn't there. Luka Doncic, obviously, he needs to he needs to improve his defense. He's not a bad defender as others might say. I think it's overblown that people are questioning his defense. He's not a rim protector or a lockdown defender for sure. He's not that kind of a guy. He's a scorer, but he can make
Yeah,
stops, especially early in the season. I think that narrative that he's a bad defender, that he basically proved. proved everyone wrong that because he can defend. He's one of the best defenders at his position. I can't say the best, but he's one of the more solid defenders at his position at the point guard spot. He's using that mismatch, right? He's a tall, tall point guard who can make stops as well. But we didn't see that at the end of the season. I'm not sure if it's the lack of motivation or just his frustration. But if he can regain that level that he showed earlier in the season when the Mavs were thriving, the Mavs were a top 4 team earlier in the season, but they just fell from to top 6 and then outside of the play. So you know, there are a lot of things that they can do for sure. They have if they get the top 10 pick from the draft. The Mavs are never a good team when it comes to developing young players. Even from Rick Carlisle before, maybe Jason Kidd is a bit better compared to Rick Carlisle when it comes to developing players. Josh Green and Jaden Hardy being a prime example for that. But
Yeah.
the Mavs are never known for drafting good players and then transforming, except for Luka is the exception and Jalen Brunson basically. But aside
Yeah.
from them, when did you see Mavs draft pick become a superstar really, right? Aside from Luka and Jalen. So they're not really great when it comes to developing young players. So I think in my personal opinion, I see them trading that top 10 pick for for a solid center, solid big man, or really wing help where they need more defense. So that's something that I expect them to do in the offseason, regardless if Kyrie Irving stays or not. I believe Kyrie Irving will stay. The drama is away from when he's with the Mavs. Imagine if he comes to the Lakers, right? Like what many people are talking about. Kyrie Irving going to the Lakers. It's Hollywood, man. uh,
Yeah.
I see him returning to his Brooklyn days, really like all the attention, all the negative stuff, and if he stays with the Mavs, there's a benefit for him. He has been away from all the controversies since that trade. People are not talking a lot about his issues and stuff like that. So I see a benefit for him to really focus on basketball when he's with the Mavs. If it's with the Lakers or any other big market team, I doubt that he will have the same peace of mind compared to what he's having right now. So as a fan, I hope that Kyrie Irving stays really, and the Mavs do something about it. But in the end, they have to really help Luca and Kyrie determine their roles better. So that's a huge thing for me. Luca's biggest problem was before he's always gassed by the time it's the fourth quarter. So Kyrie Irving came in. So Kyrie Irving's the king of the fourth, as we all know. And
Yep.
then Kyrie Irving should be finishing for the Mavs with his. We saw that happen like when it comes to against the Sacramento Kings, right? 19 points in the fourth quarter, Kyrie Irving. So that's the Kyrie Irving that the Mavs need. He doesn't take the ball away from Luca during the first third quarters. Then he just takes over in the fourth. Luca is a great player. He can give you 30. Like, he scored 13 points in the first quarter against the Bulls. You know, he can score 30 in 3 quarters or more. We all know that. Then you can just have Kyrie finish it off. That dynamic is really interesting for the Mavs and something that they should explore moving forward on how to utilize the team. If they can make that work and surround them with shooters and defenders, a big man, a Tyson Chandler like big man, like what every Mavs fan say. That's what the Mavs currently need. And then another wing like Dorian Finney-Smith. So yeah, yeah, if they can make that work, I think they can be a top 4 team again next season. But now it's just really a sad, sad day for all of Dallas.
Yeah, for sure. I think trading away Finney Smith to get Kyrie was big blow for their defense. He was definitely their best wing defender and also a solid shooter. And then as far as Kyrie in the offseason, I think he is going to stay with Dallas. I know the Lakers have less interest in him now. They're looking more to
Oh,
retain D'Angelo Russell, Austin Reeves, Rui Hachimura, and keep the same core together because they've seen how the role players have thrived. Even though Kyrie has won a championship with LeBron, they just tried having 3 stars and it didn't work out. So I think they're gonna go for the route of having really good role players. So I think Dallas is going to be one of the few teams interested in Kyrie, and I think they'll run it back and definitely need to upgrade around them. They, like you said, they need that center and they need their wing defenders because Kyrie and Luca, they're not a great defensive backcourt. Like you said, Luca can improve. He has the height and the size for it. He just needs to put more effort on that end of the floor, and then they need some good wing defenders. Like OG Ananobi was available at the trade deadline. Raptors ended up just listening to offers. It would be hard to get him. They declined an offer with 3 first-round picks, but a wing like that, that's just a defensive guy, is someone they should go after and then get that center, and they'll be in good shape. But we'll see how that all goes. Now let's move to the Eastern Conference. So the Bucks and the Celtics are the top 2 teams, and right behind them are the 76ers with
Mhm.
the MVP frontrunner Joel Embiid and of course James Harden. 2 players that haven't had a ton of success in the playoffs.
Mhm.
Do you
Yeah.
think this is the year they can finally make a run?
To be honest, I'm torn. Embiid had a great season. So you cannot help but root for him. He has worked hard for it. He has powered the Sixers to to the third seed and such. But as you mentioned, it's just hard to trust the Sixers and their recent history, really. Doc Rivers is their head coach. Aside from the championship with the Celtics, uh, most talk about Rivers' performance as a coach is his collapses, like 3-1 collapses, and it's not really a good look. At some point you have to be concerned, or you have to be worried about his winning pedigree, right? He aside from that Celtics championship, what else does he have to really show that he's a winning coach? So we still have to see that. So I cannot help but be worried for the Sixers and for Joel Embiid, of course. I can see them, making easy work of the Brooklyn Nets in the first round. But they are on a collision course with the Boston Celtics in the second round. So you have to be worried. They were 3-1 against the Celtics. No, 1-3 against the Celtics during the regular season. So it's clear that they haven't really figured out what to do with Boston. So and if things stays the same at where they're currently at, they are bound to for another second round exit. Joel Embiid hasn't reached the Eastern Conference Finals in his career, and it's hard to imagine them beating the Celtics in the second round as things currently side. Of course, they have the tools, but for me, they had James Harden. But you know what happened with James Harden last season, right? He basically disappeared on Philly. Although he said that he just didn't have enough time with the team to really gel with Embiid. Now they're obviously they are clicking well. They are playing well. James Harden's assist numbers are up. But for me, the biggest factor here will be Tyrese Maxey. We know what to expect from Embiid. We know what to expect from Harden, but we don't know yet what level Max can reach to really help the Sixers. I do believe that they have the tools to make it to the finals, but it really depends on how their semi big three plays. So Harden, Embiid, and of course Maxi. I feel like the Rivers and the Sixers are really uh, preparing Maxi for the playoffs. He has been starting since the All Star break. He has been putting up big numbers aside from his recent 5 point embarrassment. So I feel like they're preparing. I feel like they're preparing Maxi for the postseason, but it remains to be seen if really if he can take that next level with the Sixers. If he
Yep.
does, yeah, if he does, I think the Celtics will have a hard time. I see it extending to a game 6 or game 7 if Maxi really becomes the 25 or 30 point scorer for the Sixers. If not, 5 games, I think I'm giving it to the Celtics in the second round if ever they meet there.
Yeah, for sure. I think Boston and Milwaukee will knock out the Sixers in the
Mhm.
playoffs. But it's gonna be tough because Harden's a free agent. He's been linked to going back to Houston. Um, so this is a really big playoff run for them. They're gonna have to get it all together and figure it out, or they might lose Harden, and then they'll just have Embiid and Maxi, and they'll have to kind of retool their roster again. So um, definitely a crucial playoff run for them in the East.
Do you really believe that Harden will be moving back to Houston? Sometimes it's just it's hard to believe. Like, why would Harden really leave a Sixers team where he has the best chance to win a championship?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to gauge what he's gonna do,
Yeah,
but obviously there's been reporters that have uh like trusted sources that have said he's been linked there. And I mean, he did have the best seasons of his career there. He liked his lifestyle down there, so maybe it's more of just a move for him, not really for trying to
to-
win a
yeah,
championship, but maybe he just wants to go back to Houston and play there and grow with the young guys over there.
yeah. It's funny, the lifestyle. Yeah, let's just put it at that.
Yeah.
Perhaps he misses the Houston lifestyle. Really.
Yeah, so I think out of the East, it's gonna be Milwaukee or Boston.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
But yeah, Philly, very important run for them with a lot of questions going to the off season. And then let's see. So the play in, the I think the Heat are gonna come out and play Boston. That's not an easy first round, but I still think Boston would take care of them in like maybe 5 or 6. I think Jimmy Butler in the playoffs is gonna take a game or two from them, but I still think Boston and Milwaukee are gonna meet in the conference finals, and then we'll see who represents the East in the finals from there.
Yeah, I really like the chances of Boston and Milwaukee as well. For me, I feel like I give Milwaukee the slight edge. I really give the Bucks the edge when it comes to winning the title or at least coming out of the East as the finalist. So Giannis is healthy. Chris Middleton hopefully becomes healthy as well. He recently he had an injury, so hopefully and if they're really if this is the same box team that makes it until the Eastern Conference Finals, I believe that any of the Boston Celtics or Philadelphia 76ers or any of the contenders out there, they'll really have a hard time uh, beating this box team. They've been the best team in the NBA for all season. Robin Lopez, Drew Holiday, Giannis, the defense of that trio is really impeccable. It's really hard for anyone to score on them. They are inconsistent, of course. Sometimes they leave so much to be desired when it comes to their potential defensively. But they're clicking right now. But they're playing at their best, and I see them really uh improving that in the postseason and really making giving everyone a hard time. So the Celtics have a chance if ever they meet the Bucks in the East Finals, but I still give Milwaukee the slight edge considering how they played all season long. And this is a winning team. They have done it before, and there's no doubt that they can do it again when healthy.
Yeah, I'm of the belief that last year, if Chris Middleton didn't get hurt in the
Right?
first round, that the Bucks would have won the championship because uh, they went to 7 games with uh, the Celtics last year in the second round, and I mean, if Middleton was healthy, I think they would have won that series and gone on to beat the Warriors
I
in the
agree, agree.
title. Um,
They're missing their second best player, right? And
exactly.
they extended it to 7 games.
Yeah, and their offense was struggling. He's one of their main shot creators. Obviously, when they wall up Giannis, they need someone else to step up. They had Drew Holiday as their second scoring option, and Drew Holiday is a good player, but he's more of a third scoring option like they have him now. So he was kind of forced to put up more shots, and he wasn't very efficient because of that. With Middleton healthy, they're a much different team. Obviously dominant defensively, and with everyone healthy, they can be a great offensive team too. So I think if Milwaukee is healthy on this playoff run, they'll go to the finals and meet whoever comes out of the West. And there's a lot of teams that could come out of the West.
Agree, agree. And it's easy to see the Bucks winning. I would like Boston to really give a hard time to Milwaukee and even maybe compete again in the NBA finals. But it's just hard to really discount or count out, write off the Bucks as things currently stand because they are really really good.
Yeah, for sure. Now, out of the West, before we wrap it up,
Hmm.
there's teams like Denver, Memphis, Phoenix, Golden State, the Clippers, the Lakers, and maybe even though the Kings are inexperienced, they've been good all year. Maybe they make a run. Who do you see coming out of the West?
This is tough, really. You can't pick because it feels like the contenders are on the same level. I mean, even the Warriors have a good chance. Even the Lakers, considering their path to the finals, I think it can be good for them. So it's tough. But if I have to really pick, I see the Suns. Really, I see the Suns. I see the Suns doing well and making it to the NBA Finals. Like I mean, if things stay, they'll be facing the Warriors, who, as we discussed earlier, struggling on the road. Then the next round maybe the
Probably be Denver.
yeah, probably be Denver. And Denver's is it's a really good playoff team, but you have to doubt their playoff capability. I mean, aside from Jokic, they have MPJ, they have Jamal Murray, but this team, it's just like they're missing they're missing that X factor or that oomph, really, You get what I
Yeah,
mean, right? To be a championship contender. Jokic is a really stable player. He gives you triple doubles, really. But can he can he basically the Nuggets don't strike that fear that they will be making it to the NBA finals. They don't have that championship swag like I feel like the Warriors have a better chance of making it to the finals compared to the Nuggets, right? Because the Warriors are really good. Aside from their road struggles, they do play well at home. 33-8, like it's one of the best record at home. But
yeah,
and you gotta fear them because they have Steph Curry who can explode, Clay Thompson who can explode, but Jokic, he may be an MVP, he may be an MVP player, but you have to doubt his ability to really dominate. He against the Rockets, he just put up 14 points, and I think that's where that's where the MVP debate really boils down to. Why more people are favoring Joel Embiid over Jokic is because of Jokic. He doesn't pass the eye test when it comes to dominance. Jokic, Embiid, I mean, he's putting up big numbers. He's swatting shots, so people see him as an effective offensive and defensive player. Jokic doesn't strike the same fear, so I doubt that he will be able to really lead the Nuggets to the NBA Finals. I could be wrong, of course. MPJ is a good scorer. Jamal Murray. Last year they didn't have Jamal Murray, so maybe this is their year. Maybe I'm wrong, and I hope they prove me wrong. But it's just that I don't see any team fearing the Nuggets, so I doubt that they will be making it out. So if ever they face the Suns, they have the trident of Durant, Booker, and Chris Paul, right? So they can easily match up to the big three of the Nuggets. Although Denver has so much more depth compared to the Suns, it's hard to see them really going the distance against the Suns if ever they match up in the second round. So I
Yeah, I
I do
think
I do have the Suns really making it to the finals out of the West.
yeah, I think Denver Jokic is a phenomenal offensive player, but he's an all around offensive player. Like you said, he's not a dominant guy. So I think the team has a lot of good depth, but if they're gonna have a chance at a run, they're gonna need Jamal Murray to play like he was in the bubble.
Yeah,
Because he
exactly.
was their dominant offensive guy. Because Jokic, he'll be their all around guy. He'll make some good passes. He could get you a 30-point game, but then he could get you a 15-point game. They
Mhm.
need a consistent guy. So if Jamal Murray can get back to playing like that, they'll have a shot. Um, but if not, yeah, I like Phoenix is definitely one of the teams I like for sure. I mean, Durant has been great with Booker, Chris Paul, and Aiton. Uh, they have very top heavy talent. Their depth isn't great, but they have some guys like Josh Okogie, TJ Warren that can step up and play some valuable minutes. So if they could
Mhm.
get enough out of the role players, they definitely have a really good shot. And staying healthy is going to be crucial for them. With Chris Paul and Kevin Durant being veteran players, they're gonna have injury concerns. Of course, Durant missed a lot of time. He just came back recently. And then Chris Paul, we've seen him have wear and tear throughout his career in the playoffs. So it's going to come down to their health. I could see Denver making a run if Jamal Murray plays like he did in the bubble. And then the Warriors, if they could figure it out on the road, are a big threat. Um, I don't want to be biased towards the Lakers since that's my team, but I mean, I like what they've done. Role players around LeBron and AD, they look really good. So they could make a run. The Clippers, if Paul George is back, they have a shot. They haven't had a ton of time with Westbrook, Paul George, and Kawhi, so I'd like to see uh, them have a good first round if Paul George was back to get that chemistry going because they're going to need it in round two. And then if they made it that far, the conference finals. But yeah, there's a lot of teams in the West that can make it. I'm
Yeah,
not very confident in
me too.
Memphis.
Yeah,
Um, I think John Morant's a great player. They have some good players there, but I just saw Steven Adams' injury.
yeah. Yeah, out for the postseason, really.
Yeah, and that's their big guy in the paint. Obviously, they have Jaren Jackson Jr., who's a good shot blocker, but they don't have a ton of quality depth at big. So that's going to be tough if they would have to go against a team in the first round, which right now they might have to play the Lakers. That could be tough guarding Anthony Davis. Um, and then if they ended up meeting Denver guarding Jokic, or if Sacramento won their first round series guarding Sabonis, um, it's just gonna be tough for them. So I don't think this is their year. I think they need the off season to go grab another piece. If they can be healthy with Steven Adams, then I think they just need a really good forward. I'd like to see them. I don't know how much money they're gonna have to go get a guy, but I mean, if they could make a trade for an OG Anunoby, if they could sign Kyle Kuzma, just some forward would really give them a better shot. But I don't think this is their year. So I think Phoenix is probably my favorite right now. But I could see either one of the LA teams, and then Denver and Golden State could all make a run.
Full disclosure, I don't want the Grizzlies to win as well. I think they're the only Southwest Division team to make it to the playoffs. Like Houston and the Mavs are out, right? So as a Mavs fan, really, I don't want to see the Grizzlies win. So sorry, Grizzlies fans, it's just personal. So yeah, the fan base of the Grizzlies and the Mavs, they always go at each other, really, and they just keep trolling each other. So I don't want to see the Grizzlies have that bragging rights if they come out of the West. So hopefully not. But to your point, the Lakers and Clippers, the Clippers, you can never doubt Kawhi Leonard in the postseason. He's a playoff performer. So I see where you're coming from, and the Lakers as well. They are a really dangerous team, as we've talked about earlier. So it's really not hard to see them getting out of the West, especially if AD and LeBron stays healthy and they play together for if not the whole postseason, at least the most part. So it's really, they're a tough team. They have quality on all areas of the floor. They have AD at the center or the forward, LeBron, giving you 25 to 30 points, and then you have D'Lo, Austin Reeves playing also. I can see both LA teams really making it as well. If they have to have some luck when it comes to the seedings, but if
Yeah.
they do, it's gonna be tough for the top seeds to really beat those two LA teams. So I can see a path for them to the NBA Finals. Really.
Yeah, and I think that's all we have. So we're gonna conclude our first episode. We will be back to break down the play-in tournament and how the actual playoff seedings are look. We'll go through all those matchups next week, and yeah, that's our first episode.
Yeah. Again, welcome to Hoopcast, and hopefully you enjoy the show, the first episode, and you really look forward to more NBA content from me and Ben. Of course, we'll be covering the whole NBA playoffs once it starts, and we'll deliver the latest news and analysis as well. So tune in.